It's
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
Greetings. Welcome to Master Force with Mu Shemsu-t. Happy 2026. Isn't this amazing? We are starting a brand new fiscal year. Brand new fiscal year. This is not the true new year. For those of us that study, we actually know that the true new year of nature starts on April 1st. However, because this is the fiscal year, the new fiscal year, we want to actually take a different look at how we do our personal finances, and especially this year. The reason why this year is so important is because this year is a 1 year based on the numerical numbers when you add up 2026. Okay, so 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 6 is 10. You remove the 0 and you have 1. New beginnings for everybody. Not only that, when we have the Chinese New Year come in on February 17th, it's the year of the fire horse, which is a lot of energy for business and development and creation of material wealth. However, in order for us to take advantage of that, it's going to be important that we become the master of our finances. So today, and even maybe next week, because it depends on how much we get through today, I really want to support us in seeing what it's like to create our own financial foundation so we can build on it. So I'm not talking to those of you who are really good with money, you know how to handle your business there. That's fine. I'm really talking to people who may be struggling to get a hold on their financial stability, right? So before we can get a hold of it, we have to build that foundation. So today, I'm going to share with you the Freedom Map and how to boss your budget in 2026. Now, I want us to keep in mind that I am not a financial consultant or planner. I'm just sharing what I have been doing over the years and having to bring myself out of a childhood of poverty. And I'm so grateful I was able to do that because my children did not live in poverty. I was able to correct that and early enough in my life that I did not pass that on to them. However, so many of us get trapped in our poverty of our childhood because someone doesn't come along and share with us information that can help us move out of that. Okay, so that's what I want to do today. So I'm not a financial planner. I'm not a financial consultant. I'm not even saying that I'm giving you a strategy for my finances. I'm giving you a strategy to structure your ability to master your finances. Okay, there's some other things that you can learn on your own, and we'll point to that. But today, we're going to start with your mindset. And then we're going to look at how do you do your assessment for your finances, what tools you can use. And then if we have time, we'll go into activities and structures. Okay. So when we talk about a mindset for freedom, I want us to realize that we have a cap on us. We have a cap on us based on what we say to ourselves about money. If we say to ourselves, I don't have enough money, that's your cap. And that's your belief system telling you every day that you say that you don't have enough money. Now, the thing about a belief system is that you can change it anytime you change your mind. Anytime you change your mind, you can address that belief system. And I'm telling you, it took me a minute to change my mind, because even when I got ready to go to college and my family was saying Black people don't go to college, I didn't have a dime, but I had a vision. And that's what got me there. The money showed up because the money will follow your intentions. This is why you must declare a new mindset. So, how do you do that? You take a piece of paper and you write it down. I declare that I am now taking charge of manifesting wealth in abundance in my life. I am now taking charge of mastering and manifesting wealth in my life. You have to declare, whatever declaration you make, this is where you're going to stand from this day forward. And we're going to create from there. Then you're going to create your abundant flow. Now, how do you create abundant flow? You have to observe when you're thinking in lack. And you know how we think in lack? We pick something up. We need this something that we pick up at the grocery store. And we say, well, how much does that cost? Oh, well, I'm going to get the cheaper one. Well, right there, your quality of life went down based on what? Lack. You purchased something, not what you wanted. You purchased something based on lack. I don't have enough, so I'm going to buy the cheaper one. You just declared lack. You didn't declare abundance there. You didn't create abundant flow. So what you have to do is, I remember when times were challenging for me, and I still bought my high quality food, and I didn't have food stamps, snaps, or anything. But I, as a vegetarian, I kept saying, why do people keep saying things like, how you buy some vegetables and make some food, make some soup, some meat? You can make everything out of vegetables. But you have to take that stand, that abundant flow. If you look around your house right now, you can see the abundance. You can see the abundance. How were you able to purchase everything around you? You look in your refrigerator, and I'm going to tell you, as soon as our cash flow increase, what's the first thing we do? We increase our refrigerator and our shelves. We stock up. That's how we know that we're doing better. So now I want you to really start paying attention to how you talk about money, how you occur with money. And really, this is on you. This is on me. There is no one that's going to come into our life and tell us to make a difference and change. However, here is my concern for us right now. There is a financial reset happening, and many of us don't know about it. Many of us are not ready for it. Many of us are still struggling with the day-to-day. And guess what? The universe supports our struggle because that's how we learn. It's not going to be easy because we need to grow into the people that we want to be. So to expect rewards without putting in work is really, that's kind of short-sighted. We're being developed into strong, sovereign individuals. So to create our abundant flow, we have to be present to it even before we get everything that we want or anything that we're manifesting. We have to be present to the energy of that. And then also for your mindset to freedom, you want to spend 15 minutes a day on your finances. I'm going to suggest that you put in your telephone a reminder at whatever 15 minutes, if it's in the morning, the afternoon, the evening, whatever time you determine that you're going to do that, I want you to actually state it as a wonderful activity. Oh, I'm so excited about balancing my checkbook or my bank account. I'm so excited about sending payments to my bills. You have to create an energy, right, that really supports you having everything that you want before you get it in your hand. Now, that's tricky, but that's how we're designed. We're designed to create our life. We're designed to create our life. We are not designed to actually have everything at our fingertips until we're ready to take care of it. So we grow into the people. We grow into the people to hold those material things. Okay. All right. So remember that. I hope you wrote down your declaration. And if you didn't, you'll have time because you can come back and look at this. Okay. Now, the next thing I want us to prepare for is to really take a look. We want to take a look at our finances. You want to pull out your bank statement or pull up your computer and just look at it. You can print it out or whatever. But you want to be very clear about how your money is spent. And remember, we're observing without judgment. We're not going to judge ourselves. We're not going to say, oh, I shouldn't have did that. Oh, no, no, no. This is a new day. We're just going to pay attention. We're going to look at our finances through our bank accounts, our other financial accounts like Cash App, PayPal. We're going to look at the cash on hand. You know, some of us are like our grandparents. We still keep money in shoe boxes under the bed, whatever, however. But make sure you understand your streams of income. Now, I just want to say something about that because our streams of income need to be more than our jobs. I'm suggesting that this year we look to create at least 7 streams of income. Many of you already have them. Okay, your job is just one stream of income. Your job is one stream of income. We cannot become dependent on something that can topple us if we have to lose that job. So other streams of income, of course, you could have child support. You could have Social Security if you're older or you have a disability. You can also have your crafts that you sell and do. You could also have a part-time work where you're doing online projects for someone. You can also have investments where you're growing your money in stocks and bonds and other purchases. I want you to start thinking beyond just your job. And even if this is a stretch for you, it's okay because this is a new year and you're going to be provided a new fiscal year, and you're going to be provided the energy that you need to make these changes once you have that mindset saying, yeah, we're doing something different. We're moving forward. Okay. So then you're going to look at your expenses. How much are you paying for rent and mortgage? How much do you spend on your household, utilities, groceries, all of that? Make sure that you understand how everything works. And if you're not putting money in your savings, and I don't care if it's $5, you want to trigger the thought that you know how to maintain money. A lot of people can get money, but they can't maintain it. Money is not just to spend. Money is to build. Now, what am I talking about? For one thing, cash is really not as valuable as your stronger assets or your more solid assets. And what would that include? Your stronger assets are going to include your real estate, property. In order for you to even start thinking about purchasing property, you have to have money, saved up someplace. Save it before you go out and get a loan. You have to have savings to even demonstrate that you're loan worthy. Okay, so start saving so that you can begin to build that foundation for yourself. And then you can look at buying real assets, such as real estate, such as precious metals, right? Gold, silver, copper. Did anybody pay attention that they stopped making pennies? When was it? Was it in November? They stopped making pennies because copper is now considered a precious metal. Why? Because of all of the things that we're making and using that require copper. And if you know anything about how they've been going in properties and tearing the copper out of the pipes and all of that, that's been a big business for some people, making extra money on the street. But now your pennies. So those of you that have your pennies, save them. Hold on to them. They are not printing any more pennies. They are now considered a precious metal. Okay, so gold, silver, pennies, or copper, not just pennies, but all your copper. And then also, what about your gems, your jewels, diamonds, rubies, emeralds? All of those are assets. Though that value holds even when the currency in the market is fluctuating. Your real estate tends to hold your assets, your hard assets. So we have to do more. We have to do better about our savings so that we can get to purchasing some of those other assets. Okay. All right. So take a peek, gather all of that information, and then sit down and start looking at where you are with your finances. So the first thing we want to do is looking at our daily spending track. This is going to be hard hitting sometimes because we don't want to discipline ourselves. But if we don't, what's going to happen? We're going to get overdrafts. We're going to have delinquent payments. We're going to have a lot of things happen. And we want to say it's not our fault, but it's our responsibility. So you want to start, and this is the first of the year. This is the first week of the year of 2026. So start this week tracking your daily spending. You can have a little memo book, or some people put it in their phones. At the end of the day, and this is another one of those places where you're going to be spending time with your finances, because you're going to put a category or categories for what you're spending. If you went and ate at a restaurant, you're going to write down, restaurant or ate out and how much you spent. Do you know, if you keep tracking that and you realize that you're eating out more than you would like to because there's a budget, that's one of those places where you can really save a lot of money. So if you're eating out 5 times a week and you're spending $50 each time, and you tell me you don't have money for savings, that's questionable. Okay. So you want to track your money so that you can have a better idea of how you're spending each penny, each dime, each nickel. You want to know. So you're going to keep it, you're going to put it in your phone at the end of the day, or you're going to put it in a memo pad so that you can record your spending habits. And you're going to do this for 30 days, because once you see all of those ways that you've been overspending or not taking care of things that you should take care of, 30 days will give you a nice glimpse of how you're doing. It's going to be some serious insights for you too. Okay. And, I remember I did that. And I do this every January. I prepare for the year every January. This is my solar return month. Oh yeah. My birthday was January 2nd. Say happy birthday, Mu Shemsu-t, or happy solar return. Anyway, so I start every January setting up for the full year. And the first thing you do is you look and see, where am I financially? Okay. So, and if you're going to increase, you want to see what can I remove, right? What can I remove so I can see an immediate increase? One of the things I did last year was I bought an app called Robinhood. Is it Robinhood? No, I bought an app called Rocket Money. Rocket Money. Sorry about that. Robinhood is where I buy my stocks. But Rocket Money, and it tracks your subscriptions. And when I tell you I had all of my streaming subscriptions removed except for Prime Video, and I had some money. Do you know that just after doing that, I had a couple of $100 to invest? A couple of $100 to invest. And that money grows when you invest. And that was just on my subscriptions. So there are other ways that you can find when you start looking that you can save your money. Those are immediate hits. Okay. So your tool number one is to track your spending so that you can see where your money is going. And remember, when we're doing this, no judgment. And please, don't talk to other people about your finances. Okay. You can do this project with them, but don't talk to other people about your finances. They need to do their own finances, just like you need to do your own, and I have to do my own. Okay. If you want to share a process that you're doing, that's fine. But sometimes getting too many people in our head is dangerous. One of the things that I use to keep my thoughts to myself is walnut, Bach flower. I'm always looking for how the universe supports us, and I go to nature. So I don't have to take any other, things to keep my mind calm. I also use their Bach flower remedy, which is for stress relief. So when I'm sitting down working with any kind of numbers, because I'm not really a numbers person, I'm a creative, I take my rescue remedy so I can relax through the process. Okay, that's just a little caveat. Okay, so tool number one, track your spending. Here are some of the categories that you may be looking at. Your groceries, how much are you spending on groceries? How much groceries are you wasting? There's another one. Pay attention. If you're throwing away more food than you're using, that's not good use of your money either. That's not abundant. Okay. Being wasteful is a form of lack. It's a form of not caring. It's a form of being irresponsible. And we want to grow. If we want to grow something, then we must pay attention to it in a way that's masterful. So we have to clean out our refrigerators, clean off our shelves, make your list. Don't just go and buy stuff because you have the money to do it. No, be attentive to what's required instead of what's wanted. Okay, so pay attention to your groceries. Then there's the restaurants, your vitamins and supplements. How much are you spending on entertainment? How much are you spending on clothes? And then miscellaneous. That's for your hair, your nails, your pedicure, all those other things. And you can break those out into categories depending on how you work through all of your expenses. Okay. All right. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to pull up a columnar bar. And a columnar pad is where you're going to list all of your finances, and you're going to, let me make sure I don't have any personal information. Right. So a columnar is just a sheet of paper where you can make a list of your finances. And you can put how much you owe. You can put when you're going to pay it. You can put when the payment is due. But the reason we start with paper is because it helps our brain better than when we actually start on the computer. Most of us don't realize that there's such a strong connection to us using our hands and our mind that it does help us to make a deeper impression inside of our brain cells. Okay. So you're going to list each of your expenses. You're going to put the amount in the first column, and then you're going to put when it's due. And then you're going to put the date that you actually paid it. Now, when you can, and especially with credit cards, if you can pay those a little bit earlier, you can actually start paying down some of those rather quickly. And then even if you're paying your mortgage, if you pay half of your mortgage, pay a full payment when it's due, and then a half payment in the middle of the month to the principal, you can pay off your mortgage a lot faster. As soon as you can start moving into this mentality of being debt free, you'll be able to see more that before you even start adding money to you, you'll start seeing that you have the money that you require. And that's why this exercise is so important. So you can see the power in your mastery immediately. Okay. So you want to make sure you list all of your expenses. And then, when you start paying off your credit cards, once you pay off a credit card and say you were paying $50 a month on that card or whatever, now you have, because you paid that card off, you have an additional $50 to add to another payment and bring that card down. So instead of paying 50 on that next payment, you're paying 100 because you had 50 left over or available because that other card is paid off. And that's how you start to bring your cards and your payments down. All right. And you're being intentional and you're not being afraid. Many of us are afraid to approach our bills sometimes because it seems overwhelming. And this is why you want to use the courage of this month, because it's a new beginning and it is the year of the fire horse. So you have all of the energy that you require to get this done. Okay. And then the third tool for those of you who feel like you can move to this level, this is the Excel spreadsheet. And it's very similar to the calendar bar, and you can use even Google Sheets. Okay, Google Sheets. Everybody has Google. So use Google Sheets and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to list out your bills. You're going to list out how much they are. You're going to list out the date and when you're going to pay them. But you can do a little bit more with the Excel or the Google Sheets because you can you can add up everything and see what the total is. But you can also begin to see, if I pay this off, now this is how much I have left. And then you can make other columns for your income as well. So you can use the Excel spreadsheet or you can use the Google spreadsheet. Either one of those are going to be fine for you so that you can begin to track your funds and know where your money is. Okay. And this, as far as I think I've seen maybe 3 or 4 really easy YouTube videos on how to create a budget. Okay. So just go on YouTube and say, how do I create a home budget on Google, on Google Sheets or Excel. Okay. Either one of those work. All right. Now I want you to know we're doing this inside of that conversation that we're mastering our finances. All right. And then the fourth tool, now this is for those people who aren't using accounts. And I'm with you because I went 20 years being unbanked. I didn't want to have anything to do with banks or anything for 20 years. So I use the envelope method, right? And what you do is you take an envelope and if this is going to be for my mortgage and I'm using cash and I have money, I'm going to put, okay, here's the first part of my mortgage. It's going in that envelope. Okay, this is what I'm going to be spending on groceries. That goes in that envelope. Okay, this is what I'm going to save for my travel because I'm going to go wherever I'm going this year. Put that. So you set up all of your envelopes with the name of those expenses that we had from before. Okay, and then you're going to put those envelopes into a place, and I usually put a rubber band around them so it's easy to grab the whole batch. And you're going to track your money this way. But you're also going to have an envelope for savings and investments to put your little $5 in, or I said little, but I didn't mean it as an insult. I mean it as a beginning space where we are in the beginning. And you're going to put it in that envelope so that you can prepare to buy some assets. Okay. All right. Okay, now we're going to take a commercial break and then we'll come back and I'm going to give you some other tips on how we're going to use our activities and structures. Okay, be right back. Thank you so much for coming back for the second part of our conversation. We're talking about actually looking at how we can master, right? Master our finances. Okay. And, part of the work here is becoming so committed to ourselves. The best way to show our own self love is to really master the things that we that are special for us, right? And if finances are something that you want to, and I know for me, I want to be able to support the younger generation. I want to be able to make a difference for how people in my family are growing their children. All right. My lifestyle is really good. I'm good where I am. So I don't need to accumulate money to make my life better. But I do want to make a difference for all the other people that are coming behind me. Okay. Or even walking with me. Right. So now I want to look at another conversation here. And I want to take a deeper look at our expenses, because a lot of times we forget that every single thing that we spend our money on is considered to be an expense. Now, you already see everything because you're looking at your bank statements, you're looking at what you spend. And if you're cashless, you're actually tracking how you're spending your money inside of what you're using your actual notepads, your phones, your index cards to track what you're doing. So when you're looking at your rent and your mortgage payment, sometimes another way that you can reduce those payments is what? With a roommate. Sometimes you can rent out your sofa. You can rent out an extra room. My grandmother had to take care of us after my mom got sick when I was young. So we had to move in a house, an apartment with her down on Prairie, 53rd and Prairie. And I remember she had a 3-bedroom, those long apartments, hallways, 3 bedrooms. And I promise you that she rented out every room in that house except for her bedroom, in the kitchen, in the bathroom. The dining room was a bedroom that she rented out. The 3rd bedroom she rented out. The living room was where my sister and I slept. Our twin beds were in the living room. So I'm saying this because instead of us trying to get past the change that's happening on our own, we may have to become more creative, because things are going to change. Things are going to change. That's why the first of the year, you want to start being very attentive to your financial structures so that as things are changing, you're not caught off guard. So one of the ways to support your rent and your mortgage is to maybe get a roommate, rent out a room or your couch, okay, something like that. With your utilities, you already know that you can reduce the cost by turning off lights, using less, and all of that, right? Your phone. I don't know why everybody keeps upgrading to these expensive phones. I mean, really, that's a ploy. You don't have to have everything that they offer you. That's just another way to get your hard-earned cash. Do you see that the more they can make you work, the more money they get? Has that occurred to you yet? Okay. And then I've already given you some ideas about credit cards. I'm not opposed to credit cards. However, I think that if you're going to have a credit card, you should also have enough money to pay that card off when you get it, and not just keep building it up and paying a little amount, because that's another way with those interest payments that they really get those of us who live in lower resource communities. Child care, you can grandparents, aunts, uncles, they will take care of your children, but you can't ask them to do it for free. So you can save on what you're paying a daycare by giving them some payment. Okay, maybe not full payment, because daycares have become, they're almost as much as your rent and your mortgage, right? You can't even think about tuition. Okay, so negotiate with some of your family members, or maybe there's a community of mothers that can come together and support each other with childcare. We must get creative. We must get creative. Okay. And then when you're talking about travel and vacations, it is a necessity, people. We should not just stay in our neighborhoods. Okay. So we need to save for travel and vacation. And even when your children are young, please, even if it's just to Wisconsin Dells or up to St. Joseph, Michigan, take your children out of the neighborhood. Have them have some exposure. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I hear my coach Asada in my ear. Mu, talk to your people. Okay, let's see what folks are saying. Sorry. Teresa Lugo, hey, Puerto Rico. Your money will follow your intentions. Absolutely. Teresa said, I've never owned a credit card and I'm 61. Good for you. That's one debt you don't have to worry about. Because sometimes those credit cards are people's greater debts, right? Greater debts, right? Jean Lockett says, that's true. Plus, once you pay it, you still have the money. It returns to the card. Absolutely. Pay off those cards and keep it moving. That's how you use them. You don't just want to keep accumulating money on there, right? Plus, it gives a false sense of security. Credit cards are not your security. Not at all. Okay. They're using other people's money temporarily, but it's only temporary if you realize that you don't want to get caught paying interest. Okay. That's what makes it temporary. All right. And now our daily activities. Know where you stand. How are you spending your money? So what do you need to do? How many bank accounts do you need to check every morning, right? And I'm going to say something about bank accounts. I don't want to say too much about them, but get you a credit union account too. You want to have 2 or 3 bank accounts. Okay. You don't need to have all your money in one place. I don't care if you have a little bit of money. Okay. You don't know. You see how these banks are shutting down? Yeah, don't get caught. So you're going to want to have your money in other instruments. We'll talk about more of that. I'm so glad that my sister Queen Asada will go into more stuff in February about finances. But we're really committed to supporting our community, to becoming better stewards or greater stewards or more abundant stewards of money, right? So we're starting here with the bottom. We're getting our finances together right now, getting those structures in place so that we can build on it all year long. So every morning you need to know where you stand. So you go and look, what's in this account? Okay, what's coming through this account? What's going to be paid? That way you have no surprises. If you have to move some money around, move some money around. Right? I don't keep all my money in the checking part. I keep it someplace else so that people can't just dabble in. You notice how Amazon just have these, ambiguous, oh, that's from Amazon. I didn't buy anything from Amazon. What is that? You paying attention to your money is going to be so exciting because you're realizing that this is where your power is. You can control that. Okay? So you're going to look every day and you're going to see where you're standing. And you're going to track your spending. Tracking your spending is really how you're going to make a difference for how you're letting money out of your hand. And I want you to get so possessive of what you're working for or what's coming to you. Do you know that our frequency, right? Our frequency is what attracts the material and the abundant wealth to us. So when we create that mindset, we want to bring that mindset to us every day as we're looking at and tracking our spending. And we want to say, oh, but I want to give this to myself. I deserve this. You also deserve to be wealthy. You also deserve to be wealthy. So the question is that purse going to make you wealthy? No, it's not. It may make you look wealthy, but it's not going to make you wealthy. If you're buying a $900 purse, instead of putting that $900 into an investment, you're robbing yourself. Okay, now, here's the thing. If you actually have an investment that can purchase that purse, now you're doing something. Now you're doing something. But I'm saying to you that we've been caught up in a whirlwind in this society where they use us for our energy to work and build their luxurious homes while we end up struggling the rest of our lives. And it's mostly mindset because we think that we have to look a certain way before we actually have those things. All right. So we want to go back and say, oh, no, I don't have to look that. When I'm ready for that, I will purchase it. And I will purchase it when I want to. Not because society is telling me, oh, look, this is the new trend. No, we're not going like that. Okay. Teresa said, you better say that. Yes. We're really, thank you, Jean and Teresa. We really want to become so focused on our finances that when they start talking about this bank is shutting down, and because I don't do fear mongering, the more you know, the less fearful you can become. When you have knowledge, people can't scare you. They can't control you. All right. So when they start talking about all these things happening, we say, oh, okay, let me go and see what I need to restructure in my own finances. You don't worry about out there. Let them take care out there. So then you curb your debts. You decide, if you're really interested in going through a whole debt, you want to reduce your debts, send me a DM. I'll help you create that plan, set it up with you, and be your, we call it somebody, your accountability coach. You have to check in, once a week. Let me know where you are so you can move through this process. All right. This is how we support each other getting to the next level. Even if you're not going to use this advice and a young mother with children that needs support, getting her finances together, helping her with her mental state, please We have to adopt each other. We have to adopt these single mothers and their children so that they can have somebody, how we say the female solution provides wisdom. That's part of us providing wisdom, looking to see who in my community can use my support and my assistance, with their children. And I don't mean babysitting. I mean, really just say, oh, how are you doing? Yeah, I just saw this new podcast about finances and I'm doing this and this. Would you like to learn that with me? Listen, and I know that's way overboard because I'm an introvert and I know that I'm not going to do it. But some of you have that capacity to do that. And I'm asking you to take it on. Okay. And help them curb their debts, help them structure their expenses and see how they can take care of themselves and their children for a better year. All right. Now I know you might, who would think that they can do something like that to support? And I'm telling you, this is what's required because nobody else is going to come in our community and provide knowledge to help us. And then the people that need the knowledge, they're usually not looking for this type of information. So because we know them is how we're going to share. Okay. All right. I know that was a bit much. I'm sorry. I just really, our young people need us so much and they don't think they need us, but they do. All right. So now let's look at how we're going to structure ourselves to maintain this new fiscal year that we're creating. You see, we've already created our structures, right? You pulled out your bank statements. You've actually made your list of expenses. You probably went as far as creating your Excel spreadsheet or your Google Sheets, however you've done that. But you have to maintain an abundant attitude. Even if you do all of those structures and you can't feel wealth in your body, you're going to repel it. You either have a frequency of magnetism where you're bringing things to you, or you have a frequency to repel where you're pushing things away from you. So if things are coming to you, that means that you probably have a repelling energy and you have to go inside yourself to change that. And hence on that, if you have a strong resistance, you can't stand to hear people tell you something about yourself. You don't want to learn anything new. When you hear people sharing stuff, you say, who does she think she is? What does she think she knows? When you understand magnetism, you can learn from a bum on the street because God speaks through people. And they don't have to have credentials, just so you know. God don't work like that. All this stuff in society where y'all jumping up trying to get PhDs, RSDs, MTSDs, God don't work like that. God will step all over there and find the lowest person on the totem pole to go and teach his people. And we are his people. Okay? So you want to make sure that you're listening. If you're not listening, that's a form of resistance. Now, listening doesn't mean obey. Listening and obey are not the same thing. When you listen, you can listen and then determine from your own soul, your own spirit, what it is you need to do. All right. So listening is not the same as obeying. And please distinguish that for yourself, because a lot of what's going on in society is obey, obey, obey. And people are not thinking for themselves. Think for yourself. All right. But maintain an abundant attitude. Now, one way that I maintain an abundant attitude is I use binaural beats. You can go on YouTube and they have wealth affirmations. I created my own affirmation too. If you'd like to get a hold of that, please do. Also, I'm going to share with you, let me see if I can find it. There is a way for you to have a copy of a book that I think I wrote this book probably about 20 years ago. I don't know. But I'm going to put it in the comments. and see if you can grab it. If not, I'll paste it on all the other sites. But this ebook is called Let Your Wealth Flow. Okay. And what it actually does is it helps you to examine how your financial mind was programmed. Many of us grew up in financial trauma, financial crisis, and we don't realize that we need to heal that. We need to heal those places. We need to forgive our parents and our environment for those things that happened to us with finances. And my family was, I love my family. Listen, they trained me well, but my family was very selfish. So they did not provide for me. I was not provided for as a child, as a teenager, as a young adult. I've always had to provide for myself. And, thank God that I had a hookup, because that's the only way that I got through. But I did not have family provisions. So that created a very deep hurt within me. I can feel the tears coming up even as I talk about it. But I understand, and I even went back and asked my aunt, I said, why did everybody in the family, you all gave to everybody, every child but me? And you know what my aunt said? She said, well, we knew that you would be able to take care of yourself. Really? So from the age of 5, you knew that So what did I have to do? I had to create affirmations to believe in myself. I had to create affirmations to know that I was okay. I thought it was something wrong with me. I thought that my family hated me because they did not contribute to my well-being. But you know what it was? They just didn't understand that God is so good to us that they put one person like me in every family that's going to challenge the status quo and insist that everybody wake up. And that's what happened, right? Everybody has to wake up. And sometimes we don't want to wake up. We don't want to wake up. We want to actually stay as we are. So what are we going to do? We're going to kill the messenger or not support the messenger. So and we want to hope that the messenger will stop talking. Okay. So now after you create your affirmations and you look and you go through this book, it's going to really support you in a lot of different ways in helping to heal what it is in you and move that financial ceiling. You have to move it. What's the most you've ever made? Go beyond that, because you're generating and creating your own income. You're not letting a job define your worth. That's what they want to pay you for, that time and that energy and that expertise. But over here, you can make much more money than that and still do both or all three or all four. However, because listen, we are okay. Anyway. Get the book, work through the book. If you have any questions, just reach out. And then the last thing for structures is to demand excellence from yourself, not perfection. Not perfection, excellence. In other words, give your all. Provide your 100%. Be present in whatever it is that you do. And be true to your word. Demand excellence from you. And now when you're demanding excellence from yourself, you can actually request that of others. You can even anticipate that others will show up like that. I don't know, I've probably talked about Shadur Sanders a few times on this podcast because he really has served as an amazing role model for me. And a lot of the other young master geniuses, Coco Gauff, tennis, and then Chance the Rapper in Chicago. I mean, just if you notice how they're moving in life right now, they're saying, listen, I don't like that. I'm not going to tolerate that. No, thank you. But guess what? I'm going to keep playing at 100% of my game. You're not going to shut me down. I'm not going to quit. And I'm not going to doubt myself. I'm going to keep giving 100% of who I am, whether you like me or not. That's how each one of us gets to demand excellence from ourselves. And that's why they say, the young, a child will lead the way. Only if we're willing to learn, look, and listen can we develop wisdom from young people, because they're giving it to us. They're not even talking, they're showing it. So let us become a little bit more receptive. Let's allow ourselves to be magnetic and receive the language, the lessons that the young people are sharing with us. And then the last thing that I have to say is that our greatest investment is in ourselves. And I'm sorry that T went over there. If it's bothering you, it's bothering me too. Okay, but we're going to work with it, because our greatest investment is in ourselves. How do you invest in yourself? You start off, first of all, by being appreciative, being grateful, thanking God, for today, for who you are, for everything that you are right now. You are enough. You are plenty right now. The second thing, make sure you get some movement in, exercise, walk, get on your vibration plates, whatever, do some Pilates, whatever. Take care of this temple. This is part of your wealth structure. This is it. It doesn't make sense to save if you're not going to be healthy enough to spend later on, or take a trip, or to buy that chateau in Italy. So you got to take care of the temple. You also have to eat right. 3 meals a day is too much. Do that research. They lied to us. That's too much. 3 meals a day is too much. Go and look at the work that Robert F. Kennedy is doing, showing how they did that so we could spend more money and get sick and go to hospitals and tell them to fix us. It's all yes, I am a conspiracy theorist, but I'm not anymore, because everything that we've been saying is true now. So yeah, I'm just telling you what's real. Okay. We have to eat better and do better. And that's a part of investing in ourselves. And then the other thing that we have to do is we have to own our households as our family business. Our households are our family business. So we need to make sure that as we're getting these structures in place, we're teaching our children. We're having them be responsible for their spending. We're teaching them how to look at what it is they need to do. We're teaching them how not to live in lack. Listen to how you talk to your children. Oh, we don't have that. We can't afford that. That's not the language that we want to put out there. So what are you willing to change this year? What are you willing to do? And whether you agreed or disagreed with anything that I said, I hope I've given you something to think about, or something that you can go and research and make a difference in your family. That's all I wanted to do. I want to see us at the end of 2026 in a much higher equity role within our families, within our communities, and within this society. Because it's time. And, some of us might not make it, but those of you who are willing to take this on, I just want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for joining me. And if there's anything that I can provide in supporting you in this process and on this journey, please don't hesitate to reach out, because I really do want to see all of us win. It makes a difference for me. Okay. It makes a difference for me if you win, because I want to win too. All right. Let me know if you need anything. That's it. Happy 2026. And when is the new year? April 1st. Go and check that out for yourself. Until then, we will see you next week with a new topic. Thank you for joining Master Force with Mu Shemsu-t. Bye-bye.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, Ngiyabonga. Senegal, Jared. Kenya, Asante. Israel, Toda. Pakistan, Shukriya. Afghanistan, Tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.